I was relaxing at the edge of my lake, my land, when a pair of sheriff's cruisers rolled in under moonlight. I'd owned this property on the outskirts of Red Mesa, Arizona, for over a decade. But apparently, tonight, that didn't matter. Out stepped Officer Miguel Ramirez, a familiar face from high school. We used to toss firecrackers into dry creeks and race dirt bikes past curfews. But this wasn't a reunion. Behind him, strutting in like she ran the whole county, came Lisa Granger, the self-declared director of the Ridgeview Estates HOA. "This the guy," she said, pointing at me like I'd robbed her. Her manicure gleamed under my lantern light. Ramirez looked uncomfortable. "We got a call. Trevor says you're camping on HOA property." I stood up from my worn folding chair, still warm from the fire I'd built an hour earlier. "This is my land, Miguel. You know that. You helped me build the fence out here back when you had that Ford with no AC." I pulled out the worn deed papers from my coat, kept them folded in the glove box ever since Lisa first started sniffing around. 10 years I've owned this lake. Paid for it with my dad's inheritance and every dime Amanda and I saved. Lisa didn't even blink. She yanked the papers from my hand, squinting at them like they were some magic trick. "Fake," she muttered, tossing them back like trash. "Everyone knows this lake was designated as Ridgeview's stormwater buffer. It's part of our plan." Miguel sighed. "Just for tonight, maybe head out, Trevor. Let us figure this out officially." I felt heat rise in my throat. "This is my land," I said, each word sharp. "And she knows it." But Lisa just smiled like she'd already won. The next day, a message came through from an unknown number. It read, "Get off the lake or lose more than dirt." I stared at it, gripping the counter of my kitchen until my knuckles turned white. This was no longer just a boundary dispute. This was war. I started pulling out every document I had, old zoning maps, tax receipts, aerial surveys. In one brittle township blueprint from 1998, I noticed a strange word scribbled near the lake. Shared. Someone had written it in pencil and then tried to erase it. That's when I knew who I needed to talk to, Gwen McClure. She lived out here since before Ridgeview was built. If anyone had answers, it was her. When I visited Gwen, she didn't even let me finish before nodding. "Lisa Granger?" she asked, already halfway to her filing cabinet. She's tried this before. Tried to annex those old sorghum fields behind the Mitchell barn last spring. Claimed they were community commons. She handed me a file. Inside, court record from 2009 showing Ridgeview losing a lawsuit over the exact same claim. "She's smart," Gwen said, "but she's not new." Then came an email from Lisa, full of legalese, threats, and a final demand. Stop entering HOA-controlled property or face legal consequences. Attached were surveillance photos of me sitting by my own lake. Someone was watching me. The next morning, Dennis Klein, one of Ridgeview's board members, showed up on my doorstep in khakis and cologne strong enough to knock out a skunk. "We're willing to make you whole," he said before I could even say hello. "A settlement in exchange for lake rights. No more stress. Just sign and walk away." I asked what would happen if I didn't. "Well," he said, looking over his shoulder, "things might get complicated." "You're trespassing," I told him, stepping forward. "And you can tell Lisa she's not scaring me." The next few weeks, things escalated. I found my mailbox smashed, my fence cut. Someone left a dead possum in my driveway. But I didn't back down. I installed new security cameras, hidden ones. I knew Lisa wouldn't stop. And sure enough, one night they caught her. 3 Ridgeview board members, including Lisa, were down at my lake at midnight, pouring something from metal drums into the water. The surface turned slick and dark. They were poisoning it. I handed the footage to Ramirez. His face drained. Jesus, I didn't know it had gotten this bad. He promised to investigate, but I knew it would take more. So I played their game. I wrote Lisa a letter, pretending I was folding. "I'm tired. I can't keep fighting," I wrote. "Let's work something out. You win." She bought it. Hosted a victory party that weekend with champagne and a DJ at the Ridgeview Clubhouse. Meanwhile, I uploaded the video online. Caught red-handed. Ridgeview HOA destroys private property. It spread fast. Within 24 hours, local news was at my gate. And people from Ridgeview? They weren't happy. Turns out, Lisa had hurt more than just me. In court, her defense crumbled. My footage, Gwen's documents, testimony from residents she'd bulldozed. Even Dennis flipped, claimed Lisa made him do it all under threat of firing and lawsuits. When the judge ruled, it was clear the lake was mine. Lisa Granger was stripped of her position and fined heavily. Environmental damage, fraud, conspiracy. But she didn't go quietly. After the ruling, I got one more message, handwritten and pinned to my broken gate. Not over. L. I didn't flinch. Instead, I drove to the county records office and dropped paperwork that changed everything. I had bought Ridgeview's golf course, the pool, the community center, all of it, quietly, legally. At the next town hall meeting, I stood up and said, I'm calling for new board elections. This HOA is under new ownership. Lisa gasped. Someone in the back clapped. Later that night, standing by my lake, now clean again, I whispered, We did it, Amanda. I could almost hear her laugh on the wind. Then a stranger walked up, a woman with tired eyes and a folder in hand. You don't know me, she said. I'm from Cold Hollow Township. Our HOA, it's worse than this. She held out the folder. Will you help us? I looked down at her papers, then back at my lake, and I nodded. Standing by the lake that night, watching the last of the cleanup crews pack their gear, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. The water was clear again. The land was quiet. And for the first time in years, I didn't have to look over my shoulder. Lisa Granger was finished. The judge's ruling hadn't just handed me back what was mine. It had exposed her for what she really was. The lies, the manipulation, the threats, all of it came crashing down. Her smirk was gone. Her allies were gone. She'd been stripped of power, slapped with fines, and abandoned by the very people she used to bully into silence. And that HOA she used to run like her own little empire? Under new leadership now. My leadership. Funny how things come full circle. But the real victory wasn't about land, titles, or courtroom wins. It was about something deeper, something personal. That lake had been Amanda's dream, my promise to her, and a place where memories lived. I'd almost lost it all, but I didn't. I stood my ground, even when the threats got ugly, even when it felt like no one believed me. And in doing that, I kept my word. I thought it would end there. I thought this chapter was closed. But then came that woman from Cold Hollow, clutching her folder of evidence like it was all she had left. Different town, different names, same story. Another HOA run like a private mafia, hurting people who couldn't fight back. She didn't have to say much. I already knew my answer. This wasn't just about my lake anymore. It was about something bigger. Because if someone like Lisa could do what she did and almost get away with it, how many others were still out there? How many more were being threatened, pushed off their land, told to sign or else? So no, this fight isn't over. Not for me. Not for them. I've got the tools, the experience, and the fire to do something about it. What started as a quiet life out by the lake has turned into a mission. One I didn't choose, but one I won't walk away from either. Let them come. Let them scheme and threaten. I've faced worse and come out stronger. Because this land, it's not just mine. It's proof that the little guy doesn't always lose. And sometimes the story ends with the bully being the one who has to run. And if they think I'll back down now, they haven't been paying attention. I'm not just guarding a piece of land. I'm protecting what it stands for. For Amanda. For my folks. For every neighbor who's been pushed too far. This isn't revenge. It's justice. And I'm just getting started.